We've got some time constraints in that some of us have to be over there about 12:30. If some of you would take your seats, they'll start taking orders, but they want you seated so they know where you are when they bring the plate back.
Used to, when I was a kid and we all lived in Mason, we had family reunions most of the time, once a year at least.
Joe, how are you? Dick, how's it going?
It seems Beck Gipson's got his hands full. He promised the restaurant there'd only be 10 or 12 kinfolks for lunch. Now it's grown to about 50. And the back room at Zavala's restaurant in Mason, Texas is hardly the place you'd expect to find a gathering to honor a literary legend.
Old Yeller was a mongrel, an ugly lop-eared mongrel.
Old Yeller, he was America's dog. It was a heartwarming saga set in the Texas Hill Country that played to audiences all over the world, from a best-selling novel written by Beck Gipson's daddy, Fred Gipson.
What do you do when someone says, "Oh, your dad wrote Old Yeller"? Having grown up in that environment where I read his work, it's like talking to him.
Fred Gipson, born, raised, and rooted in the granite hills of central Texas. Through the struggles and hard times of growing up along the Llano River came a stream of classic tales that captured the hearts of millions. Well, Fred died back in '73, and still his most lasting legacy is a simple tale of two boys in a pioneer family and their best friend, Old Yeller.
Because it is a book that is read by young people, it's quite likely that it may be the first book that they read that makes them cry.
It's been said the whole world wept when Old Yeller died. For many, it was a humbling discovery that for the first time, words on a page could bring tears.
The book that you read that creates that kind of emotion is the kind of thing that can stick with you forever.
It's been a long road, but here we are today. It's a glorious day. I couldn't be happier. And all of it came from a very tiny, humble idea.
Beck Gipson's little family reunion has just gotten a little out of hand. Out in front of the Mason Library, a crowd has gathered. You see, today they're going to erect a bronze monument to Old Yeller. Everybody from the county judge to the First Lady of Texas is here.
I was sitting next to my mother, and the other side of me was Garland Weeks, an old friend who we hadn't seen in many years, but who ended up being the sculptor in this project.
Western artist Garland Weeks has worked months sculpting a dog that never really existed. But what was supposed to be a simple unveiling became an outpouring of emotions that probably would have embarrassed the quiet Fred Gipson.
And I did share Old Yeller with my fourth graders. And when we got to the sad part, I don't know who started crying first, them or me.
I think one of the things that's missed that hit me pretty hard is that it was revisiting someone I love very much and miss. I mean, you know, I love my father, and here's a whole day dedicated to memories about him.
So congratulations to the citizens of Mason County on the occasion of this unveiling, and congratulations especially to the Gipsons and to Garland Weeks for doing such a fine job of bringing home Travis and Old Yeller.
That speech of me. Excuse me. Let me compose myself just a moment. That was a very nice talk, Laura. Thank you very much. I was sitting here looking at this crowd, and it just reminded me of something that my dad told me once. In his latter years, he didn't write all that much, but he took great pleasure in making speaking engagements and talking to people. He said, you know, those kind of events, they're really flattering to your ego, but it's wonderful every once in a while to go down to the post office and pick up a little check. And I know that may not relate to you people, but as a family, it did does.
Everybody else sees my dad as the man who wrote Old Yeller. I see him as my father. How do you talk to an audience like that?
Garland Weeks, the sculptor of Old Yeller and Travis.
I got the sense from my correspondence and telephone calls with Garland that he felt very privileged to work on that project. I think it was something that really meant a lot to him to be able to work on it.
I can't do this.
I must confess that I am so emotionally wrapped up in this Old Yeller project that I have asked Jerry to read my further comments.
For the first time in many years, Beck Gipson is faced with the reality of what Old Yeller means to the world and how much emotion can be tied to a simple story about a lovable dog.
And when I found Old Yeller in the library in Wichita Falls, I was captivated. At that time, I had no clue as to how or why books were written. I just knew they were there, and that I could read them. All of a sudden, I wanted to meet Fred Gipson. How could he make me cry with just words?
It was a bittersweet, tough mixture of a lot of memories.
A single yellow bed sheet easily slides away, revealing a frozen and cherished moment in American literature, Travis and Old Yeller, together on the banks of Birdsong Creek. And for the first time, people could reach out, touch, even pet the beloved mongrel that stole everyone's heart.
I think it's important for people to understand how important reading is at a young age. And now this is common knowledge and everybody says this, but one of the things that they don't say is give them something worth a damn to read. And I think he did that. What it means to America, I don't know. I think it means that America loves a good story.